The movie had already started. The lights went off. Everyone's attention was fixed on the giant screen until a baby cried. At first, people smiled. Someone whispered, "Whose baby is that?" The crying became louder. A cinema attendant walked over with a flashlight. He expected to find an embarrassed parent. Instead, he found a newborn baby lying alone in the last row, wrapped in an expensive blanket. No mother, no father, just a tiny note tucked beneath the baby's head. It read, "Don't let him leave this building." Nobody understood what it meant until people began disappearing. Before we step into tonight's story fully, welcome to Ngozi's African Dark Tale, a home of chilling dark tales, shocking mysteries, and unforgettable stories with unexpected twists. If you enjoy stories that keep you guessing until the very end, make sure you subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and join our growing family. You never know which story will haunt your thoughts long even after the screen goes dark. Now dim the lights, stay close, and let's begin. Friday nights at Guinness Cinema was packed. The latest horror movie had sold out. Couples laughed, teenagers took selfie, families bought popcorn. Among them was 28 years old Adeze, a nurse enjoying her only day off. Halfway through the film, a baby's cry echoed through the dark hall. The audience became irritated. Someone shouted, "Carry your baby outside." The crying continued. A cinema worker named Jude walked towards the sound. A flashlight landed on a small basket. Inside was a newborn baby, maybe a few days old, very beautiful, peaceful, except for the endless crying. Everyone looked around. No one claimed him. Security immediately locked every exit. The manager assumed frightened parents were hiding somewhere. Police were called, but nobody knew. The nightmare had already begun. Inspector Babatunde arrived within minutes. He searched the basket. Inside were diapers, a feeding bottle, and a handwritten note. "Don't let him leave this building." The officers laughed, probably the work of a mentally unstable mother. Babatunde ordered one of his officers to take the baby to the police vehicle. The officer lifted the baby. Before reaching the exit, the baby screamed. Not cried, screamed. The cinema lights exploded. Glass shattered. The officer collapsed instantly, dead. No wound, no blood, his face frozen in absolute terror. Silence swallowed the building. The baby stopped crying. Everyone stared. Nobody moved. Then the emergency doors locked themselves. Panic erupted. People kicked doors. Windows refused to open. Phones had no signal. The projector shut down. Only emergency light glowed red. Then they heard footsteps, slow, heavy, coming from the empty hallway. Victor checked the CCTV room. Every camera showed the same thing. A woman wearing a white hospital gown, carrying nothing. She walked through walls. She had no face, just darkness. Yet every camera followed her. Jude ran back. By then, another customer had vanished. Only popcorn remained on his seat. Then another disappeared. Then another. No screams, just gone. Divine noticed something strange. Every missing person had tried to leave the cinema. The ones who stayed near the baby remained unharmed. Divine examined the baby carefully. Around his tiny wrist was a hospital tag. She froze. The name of the hospital was familiar. She had worked there 5 years earlier. Then she remembered a pregnant woman named Bola. She had died during childbirth, but before dying, she kept repeating one sentence: "They are taking my baby. They are taking my baby." The hospital records later claimed the baby died as well, except Divine now realized he hadn't. Someone had lied. Inspector Babatunde suddenly confessed something. His brother had owned that hospital. The newborn had been secretly sold through an illegal adoption ring. Bola's death had been covered up. Everyone involved became rich. but one child had somehow survived. The baby's mother had never been found. She wasn't hunting innocent people, she was hunting everyone connected to the crime. Then they looked around. Several people inside the cinema gasped. The manager lowered his head. One elderly businessman started crying. They had all invested in that hospital years ago. Every one of them had profited. Tonight, they had unwillingly gathered in one place. The ghost appeared, standing at the front of the cinema, white gown soaked with blood, arms empty, waiting. The greedy people tried running. One by one, they vanished into darkness. Their terrifying screams echoed through the buildings. Then, nothing, only Divine, Jude, and a few innocent customers remained. The ghost walked towards the baby. Divine gently placed him on the floor. The spirit knelt for the first time. A face appeared, a young mother. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She kissed her son's forehead. The baby smiled. The cinema doors unlocked. The emergency light turned white. The ghost slowly disappeared, holding the baby in her arms, except the basket remained empty. Police searched the entire building. The baby was gone. No footprints, no camera captured where he went, only the basket. And the note, this time, the word had changed. It now read, Justice has finally left the building. The cinema reopened 3 months later. Business returned to normal. But workers still say, during the last movie every Friday night, a baby can sometimes be heard crying from the very last row. When they shine a flashlight there, they only find an empty basket waiting. Some secrets stay buried for years, but the truth has a way of finding those responsible. Sometimes justice comes through the courts, and sometimes it arrives in the dark when the lights go out. If this story touched you in any way, subscribe and help us keep making stories that matter. Every story we tell begins with your support. Now let me ask you, viewers, if you had found the abandoned baby, viewers, would you have picked him up or left him alone after reading the notes? Share your thoughts below in the comment section. I will also be in the comment section to read your thoughts. Before then, please subscribe.